Hey everyone, coming up, we are having an show of some sort where we're putting up Disney and Universal attractions against each other to decide just which place is better. So, live from the Bob Varley studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 72 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to a slightly... I don't know how to best describe this episode. It's going to be a bit strange. I am your host, Craig Williams. I guess they're always strange, so that's not anything really out of the ordinary here. But if you're watching right now, then you might notice I'm in the middle of the table. If you are listening, this has absolutely no impact on you in life whatsoever. But you might not hear Jenny Lynn Knopp because she is not here with us today. Unfortunately, my table friend is at home sick currently right now. But it's not just me all by myself. This isn't some type of solo show where I'm going to try to do all of this on my own. But in the back on the controls is my associate producer, Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So
for
typically...
that marvelous introduction.
Typically whenever... Okay, just
Sorry.
bang the table.
Just gonna
bang
knock
it.
stuff over.
Typically whenever I am by my...
They're shouting.
Yes, there's shouting in the background. Always strange what we're going to hear in the background here. And it's pouring down rain, too. So it's just...
I don't know. You guys expected us to be reenacting our favorite attraction. Drew Carey's Sounds Dangerous. I couldn't even get that out without
Exactly, yeah.
myself.
We've decided to abandon the Universal show entirely today and just do a fitting tribute to Sounds Dangerous starring Drew Carey.
Watch out for that jar of bees, Craig. No, I said beads.
Oh, beads?
Beads.
Okay. Beads. Yeah, so we have a really fun show coming up. It's just the two of us. Typically, whenever we are down a person, we try to fill in with one of the other great members of our Diz team. Unfortunately, it's not happening today. Everyone's busy. It's a busy time for all of us. So you're just going to have to try to put up with the shenanigans of just Rhino and myself.
Sausage Festival.
Yeah, it's...
Is that what they call it? I don't... Is it? Oh, I'm not Craig Williams.
Yeah, you're
Is it
not Craig Williams.
It's not a festival, is it?
It's always a sausage festival whenever you have Kyle Bossa here, making things interesting. So, yeah, I kind of announced it at the big start of the show, and my foot's itchy. But now I am going to reiterate what we're going to be doing today. So, of course, it's award season right now. They just had the Golden Globes. The Oscars, the Academy Awards are coming up very soon from now.
Like 4 weeks, yeah.
Like 4 weeks away. And I think, does anyone still care about the Grammys? Doesn't matter. They happen at some point, right?
For all I know, they have the Grammys like 7 times a year because I feel like it's always on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the Grammys are on.
And then you have the American Music Awards. You have the Latin Grammys. You have so many things. I don't even know all of them. That's how many award shows are out there. So we are going to do our kind of, I want to say in a way, our Orlando awards because, well, in all of the categories that we're going to be going through, all of the nominations just so happen to be from Universal and Disney. Who would have thunk?
It's crazy, yeah.
SeaWorld was really close to making it into a few of the categories, but in the end, they just weren't able to pull through and secure any of those nominations. All of the categories,
in the
unfortunately...
end, that fish just wouldn't swim.
Yeah.
God, I hate myself.
Yes. All of the categories only have 2 items in them, so it was very competitive, very, very competitive. But yeah, I think
Cutthroat.
we've got a very interesting one coming up. So one of the fun things about this, if you are watching along live with us, we will be slightly monitoring to kind of get a general group consensus on some of these categories. And for everyone listening or watching this later, it's this is one of the benefits of being a part of the live show, is that sometimes you get to be involved in some of the happenings, and this is going to be one of those ones where you do get to participate. And but at the end of the day, this decision solely comes down to my discretion. If I don't agree with what everyone's saying, then screw it.
That's it.
So Yahtzee.
Can't yell it here. Yahtzee! Anyone who knows me knows I enjoy yelling out a good Yahtzee from time to time. Have you played that game in your adult life, by the way?
I haven't.
It's a lot more complicated than it was when it was my Mickey Yahtzee I had as a kid with the cup and thing.
I don't think that the rules change.
Well, I think I was
think
playing
you
it wrong
changed.
then as a kid. So
So,
I did have that head injury.
So, yeah, I've kind of explained the rules, more or less, of what's going to be happening on this one. So I want to talk about the 9 different categories that we have today for you to decide who will win. I believe someone in chat already defined it as the Orleys. That was Jillian. She wanted to call it the Orleys. I don't like that.
No. Sorry,
So-
I actually didn't mean to say no like that, but
Yeah, it's.
I think that's already something though.
I'm sure there's Orlando awards already out
It
there.
also
that
sounds
count
like we're
as
giving out an
Orleys.
award for the best
So,
ovaries, so I don't
yeah.
like that one.
We need someone to come up with a new name for this, because it was my job to come up with everything else in it.
The
but not the name.
attractees.
The attractees. I don't like that either. It just doesn't have a nice ring to it. So we'll read off here our 9 different categories. There will be no music. If anyone takes a long time accepting their award, we will not be playing them off. But we will try to make this as interesting as possible. So our 9 categories, for the third time trying to get to say it. We have
Waiting.
we have the best new attraction. We have the best water attraction. We have best flight simulator attraction. Best indoor attraction. Best music themed attraction.
Oh, there's so many things.
Best drop attraction. Best roller coaster. Best moving motion simulator. And best shooting attraction.
I'm excited.
I'm pumped for this one. So,
I don't know. I'm having a lot of jokes running through my head today, and sometimes I wish this show was not at 1 p.m. and was like a 7:30 p.m.
oh yeah.
But I'll keep it clean.
I understand. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep this as clean as possible. So,
Unlike the bathrooms at Disney World.
so what should we call this? Should we call it the Parkies? The Parksies? I don't like that. It's too close to footsies. Yeah. The Rideys?
No, we have a different. Never mind.
Keep trying, people. For now, we'll call it the Parkies.
That sounds like we're giving out awards for people who have the worst case of Parkinson's. I know that's terrible. Just the. I can't. I can't. I'm like literally staring at this wall, trying to see like maybe there's a ride here. It'll be like in the movies where I somehow can divine the name of like Doubtfire. That's what we'll call them, the Doubtfires. Did somebody say a good one?
The Doubt Fires?
Yeah. Is it the misses?
No.
I don't know. What else?
We're going with Parkies.
Okay.
So let's kick this thing off, everyone out there.
Let's get shaken.
So our first category, we're going with best shooting attraction. So nominated courtesy of Universal Orlando, nominated for best shooting attraction, we have Men in Black Alien Attack. So, for those of you out there who aren't super familiar with Men in Black Alien Attack, well, you you get to go and see an exhibit at the World's Fair, The Universe in You, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the headquarters for Men in Black, where you're going to start doing some training.
You get to listen to that cool music as you go in there too. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, absolutely. And so from there, your training has to turn into reality whenever aliens have taken over the city. And it's up to you to shoot these disgusting, disgusting creatures and prove yourself worthy. Mm-hmm. So in terms of shooting attractions, this one is kind of on the difficult scale. I know that the team members that work there and people who do go to ride this over and over again, they kind of know all the little secrets, how to score well, pushing the red button, all of that. But in general, in a sense, this is a really tough attraction in terms of figuring out how to score. I'm still not quite sure I understand how to score points in this thing.
Okay. In the attraction, okay.
In the attraction itself.
Yeah, I sat in line and Googled something one day because I was like, okay, I've played it. I've tried my best every time, and I'm like, now I want to be the best. So I want to see like what are the tricks, what are the whatever. And even doing that, you still like you're just because you Googled, some would say that's cheating, but you're not going to come out with a 99999.
Yeah.
999. You're not going to come out with one of those scores. So I'd even look it up. Then you can see some fun little, tips and tricks on there.
Yes.
But yeah, it's hard. It's difficult because it's not a normal like you're in that set of New York and you're looking for an alien, and it's just like the training in the movie where they're saying like, are you getting the good guy or are you getting the bad guy too?
Yeah. So, on the Disney side of things, nominated for Best Shooting Attraction, we have Toy Story Midway Mania, the fun 3D romp that shrinks you down to the size of a toy and has you playing in carnival-style attractions in a fun 3D environment. Who's going to be the best scorer in your car? You don't know, but at least this one, there are definite ways that you know how to score. You definitely understand how the game's being played along with everything. Whether or not it's as fun, I don't know. For me, Toy Story Midway Mania, it really hurts my wrist.
I can't.
After a while.
Yeah,
it hurts my arms.
The further... I played it with Steve the other day. There was some post, but like I can't. I get to the end and I'm like, I can't keep going. It just hurts so much.
Exactly. For everyone in chat, this would be the time for you to decide what you think would win. We might take that into consideration. We might not. But part of the thing that I love about Toy Story Midway Mania is that they are able to rotate new scenes into it and change up the environments because it is that 3D video screen attraction. And so that keeps it fresh. That keeps that attraction going on longer.
I also enjoy how they have there are cheat levels in it too. So if when you're in your volcano level and the balloons that are on the volcano, if you like shoot all those, like it'll erupt and then all these balloons fall down. And there's a lot of every scene has like it's like that, like the spacemen one throwing the rings around all the little green men in the spaceship. Like if you do that, then this other thing comes out and its mouth opens up and you can throw the rings in its mouth. And
I know this is a tough one. A lot of chat is also very divisive. They can't decide either.
Divisive.
They're all it's all over the place. So I'm gonna go. I know this is the Universal Edition podcast. I appreciate both, but in terms of a shooting attraction, I find Toy Story more superior. Universal could learn a lesson from them, I think, in this category. Yep.
I think I'm going to go the other way because my feelings on Toy Story are that it's fun, but for me it's just a video game, and I like that like in Men in Black you're in the set and you're like surrounded by the aliens and you're moving through a movie set and you can shoot at all this stuff with a gun and or a blaster or whatever it is, like a noisy cricket or something, and there's I don't know, there's something about that I just really like, and I think that's what just edges it out a little bit further for me, is that like you're in the sets and stuff. So that's why I'm going to weigh on that one. So we're already split here. So Do we consider chat?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's too many people voting to really keep
You're not
up with
counting?
it's right down the middle. Executive dictatorship on this one. I'm giving it to Toy Story. They win. They win the as I like this because it's only you and I here for this one. It's being dubbed the Krynos. So the first Kryno goes to Toy Story Midway Mania. Sorry, Universal. We love you.
What's that statue look like? What's that statue?
I like to think that it's a weird representation of both you and I all together.
Just like, yeah, God.
Won't say which features come from which person. So
Just the
we're going-
Frankenstein of us.
We're going with the Krynos. That's what they are. Not cryogenics and all that stuff. Just
Next year we'll be hosting these at Chili's.
fantastic. So it's a big win for Toy Story. Unfortunately, no one from Toy Story Midway Mania is here to accept the award. So we are just going to move on to the next category. And for that one, we have the best moving motion simulator. So what does an attraction need to be to become a moving motion simulator? Well, there's two parts in this.
Movement.
And I'm gonna kind of lay it down right now so people know. Obviously, the first time you hear motion simulator, people think right away, oh, there's going to be a screen involved. And so I think
I
I'm
was one of
doing
those
something
people.
on the screen. You were one of them until earlier,
Yeah.
whenever we discussed this. A motion simulator doesn't have to be based around the screen. It's a technique that's been used in many an attraction, albeit maybe it's The Simpsons, maybe it's Star Tours, anything like that. But just any attraction that simulates some type of greater motion than what you're actually physically doing and makes you feel like you're doing something different, that's all a simulator is. It simulates something. But for some reason, a lot of people out there think that it has to be.
Okay, I think I know why. I know why I think I associate it like that. It's because like when we were younger. Do you remember your mall might have had one of these? But there was like these motion simulators
Yeah.
that they would have in the mall that were like look like the ship on Star Trek, like the shuttle. So you would go in, and it would seal you in, and it would shake around.
Exactly.
So I think that's where that like ties in for motion simulator for me. I think that's where I have that.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that whole thing. And our Universal nominated attraction, I think, is really what, almost in a sense, redefined what a motion simulator could be. And of course, I am talking about the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
Walter J. Spitterman.
Universal, obviously, we've talked about Universal enough on the Universal Edition. They have plenty of motion simulators, especially moving motion simulators as of lately. But there is just nothing in the world like the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. You know, you're flung right into the world of Spider-Man in this attraction. You're going out there to get the scoop. And
In the scoop.
You're getting the scoop in the scoop.
While you're eating your Fritos scoops. They don't give those to you. Those
Yes,
are
it's-
$5 bag.
And please, no eating, drinking, smoking, or flash photography while on the attraction.
I just want to meet the guy that you get in the ride with, and he just lights up a cigarette. Sir, not here.
No, not allowed. And so then, of course, it just happens to be a night where basically all the Spider-Man villains you've ever cared about just happen to be out.
And that one you've never heard of, Lady Venom.
Yeah, and for some reason, Stan Lee's just bouncing around like 9 different times throughout the attraction.
See, and that's why I wish you could maybe drink on this too, is because you could get a he's there so much, and he's got a lady with him every
Yeah.
time, except
So-
for when he's driving the dump truck.
So, drinking game. Next time you ride Spider-Man, take a shot for every time you see Stan Lee. But please remember, no eating, drinking, smoking, or flash photography on any of the attraction. Spider-Man kind of set the bar for the future of attractions whenever that came out, and people are still talking about it to this day. We are supposed to today do our review, kind of our whatchamacallit,
Harry Potter review?
of Spider-Man. We are gonna put that up for our Universal attractions.
What? Hall of Fame?
Yes, our Hall of Fame.
okay.
We were going to put, thank you. I completely had a brain fart right in the middle of this. We were going to put Spider-Man up today on the Hall of Fame, but because JL wasn't here, I didn't want to do it without that. So that's why we
spoiler alert.
started to do
it's gonna
this.
get in there. Go
Spoiler.
ahead.
So, what is nominated for Best Movie Motion Simulator at Walt Disney World Resort? Well, I think this is going to take a lot of people by surprise. And the reason I preface this on what a moving motion simulator is because I chose one that isn't typical. It's not your Star Tours, sorry. It's not your Body Wars for those out there who were around for it.
Yeah, that one scared me as a kid.
I am talking about a little attraction called Dinosaur.
A Star Wars story.
Yes, it is a motion simulator that moves. So I don't want to break it to people, but they're not really going as fast as they think they are, and they're not going over logs and getting stuck and doing all that. It's a real challenge. These vehicles that they use in Dinosaur are incredible. I'm not going to go into that, but of course it uses the same technology that was pioneered out in Disneyland for the Indiana Jones Adventure, which if we counted Disneyland in this, it would, Indiana Jones Adventure versus Spider-Man, that'd be a toughie. That would be a super tough one.
You'd have to go back too, because even their Indiana Jones right now doesn't have everything functioning, and it's still amazing.
Yeah.
And when I hear the stories of what it was in the beginning, and then you hear this ride's 20 years old, the movement in the car is ahead of its time. I'm blown away by it today still.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about Dinosaur too.
no, and it's a great attraction.
It's just it suffers from one of those things that Disney caters to. They just, if people complain, and I'm not saying I'm saying if too many people got scared, they keep making this wimpier and wimpier. And I was a kid that I didn't go on roller coasters or anything like that, and that's why this ride, Dinosaur Ride, struck a chord with me, because it was exciting, it was thrilling, it was fun. Who doesn't love dinosaurs and time travel? Two of my favorite things. And it was something I could do, and it just seems like every time I go in there, they're making it a little bit lighter, they're making the noises a little bit less, and it's just kind of unfortunate. But this is going to be a tough call for me.
Yeah. No, I think it's simple. I'm going to clarify one more time, because there was still a question about Dinosaur isn't a motion simulator because it's actually doing the motions. And it's something that you have to see or talk to the people behind these attractions to really know. The best example I can give is Indiana Jones again. The final climactic scene where Indy's hanging on a rope and the ball starts coming. They are able to simulate the car moving backwards and make it feel like you're backing up to try to change your direction before dropping down. No, you're stationary that entire time.
What?
Yes.
See,
and we'll talk more about
know that.
Yeah, it's honestly.
But Spider-Man does that too. Spider-Man does that. Well, we're not talking about Spider-Man. I guess you're talking about Dinosaur.
They are both moving motion simulators, but flat out, hands down, because taking everything into consideration, story, lasting power, the effects that all go into it, Spider-Man simply wins. No problem. And I think pretty much everyone's agreeing on this.
I say it because it's like what you said. I think Spider-Man was the future, and the ride vehicle, it's Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man might be my favorite ride in Orlando. That or the Harry Potter.
It's right up there.
Escape from Gringotts.
So,
Escape from Gringotts, the other one.
Unfortunately, Spider-Man is not here to accept its honor as Best Moving Motion Simulator. So
we do have oddly,
here.
Peter Parker is here. I don't know the correlation.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah, sorry, Peter Parker is here. Peter, what do you have to say?
My girlfriend's dead.
Wow, you were just not a voice actor at all. Not great. So we are going to move on to our next category right after this commercial break.
No?
No? Okay.
Oh, you don't have a commercial.
So, our next category, Best Roller Coaster. So, this was a tough one. Obviously, it all came down to what we were deciding whenever we came up with these categories
Catamarans.
for the Krynos. And we decided at Universal Orlando, even though it is not currently operational, the pinnacle of roller coasters there, the one that everyone thinks of the most, honestly, I think if you say a roller coaster at Universal, I'm talking about the Incredible Hulk roller coaster. It is just a beast of a roller coaster with that accelerated launch, the 7 different inversions going all throughout, just screaming the entire way because they don't fill the inside of the metal track with sand. So that's why it has that loud piercing effect that you can hear all the way down the road.
They do that on purpose?
Yeah. Oh. That's on purpose to give it that Hulk scream. It's
Oh yeah.
I can only ride it sitting in the front seat. We all know that you're too afraid to ride it. It is just, it's intense. It's intense. I can't say much more about it than that.
Maybe when it if it reopens, it doesn't have lap bars, I'll never ride it. But if it does reopen and has them, maybe a couple drinks in me, maybe I'll finally just man up and then vomit everywhere.
Yeah. So, but in terms of Disney's nomination for this one, we are putting up this. This is a real challenge. It's not a challenge for me, but
it's real
nominated for Best Roller Coaster at Walt Disney World, Expedition Everest. So obviously, this isn't the most crazy or thrilling attraction at Walt Disney World. I mean, some people might say it is.
It goes backwards and forwards.
It goes backwards, forwards. It's got a Yeti in it that doesn't work.
It just stares at you cold and
Just
dead.
just stares at you with its cold, dead eyes while having disco lights being flashed all upon it. But in general, in terms of theming, you know, it just adding in the theming, something that is very lost on the Hulk. Yeah, the Hulk has a great start to the attraction, and it does tell a story as long as you paid attention to the cue going through. But Expedition Everest, it's more accessible for families because of a shorter height requirement.
Well, and Expedition Everest, you're in a train, you're going up a mountain. Then when you're on the ride, you're in the mountain. That's what I like, because it's not all about the height. It's about the adventure. And whereas the Hulk is very much like, the Hulk reminds me of just kind of one of those, like they had the roller coaster and then they slapped the theme on it. Whereas I feel like Everest was built up around the theme.
Yeah. So
I'm my vote is Everest.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, I would vote for Everest too. I think it is the better of the coaster. However,
oh no, is
for
the chat going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's for the ones who have voted, as I'm seeing it right now as we're speaking. As much as I would want to give it to Expedition Everest, I think our fans, our listeners, they agree for the most part. That the Hulk is. A lot of people are saying that for theme wise, yeah, Everest is great, where the Hulk doesn't. But it's a lot of this is you just have to put everything together in deciding this. There's no you can't say, oh, I like it for theme, but I like this one for what it is. You have to take all of that into consideration and then output your simple thing. For me, the theming's so great at Everest that the fact that it's not the scarier of the two coasters, that still outweighs the Hulk for me, whereas I know the Hulk is intense, but the theming there, that brings it down a couple notches. So, yeah.
What if you're just afraid of hairy beasts? Like, it can be scary. Well, I guess they both have a beast. The other, just Banner, waxes. Yeah. But I still think as a whole, this one's better.
Yeah. Well, it's the Hulk. It's the Incredible Hulk coaster. I apologize. So,
they just want to see us real angry.
Unfortunately, the Incredible Hulk coaster is not here to accept their award. Again, it's like no one gave them a heads up that we were going to be doing this today.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So, kind of a pain in the butt.
What are we going to do with all these awards?
We're going to keep pushing on. And so I am going to pause and take a second here in all this. Again, for those listening back on audio later, this doesn't make as much sense for you. Those coming along live with this, it makes a little more sense. But remember, I did list all of I listed all of the categories that we were nominating stuff for right at the beginning. So just because something hasn't popped up yet, that doesn't mean that it's not going to pop up into one of the other categories. We're not cross-pollinating. Everything can only be nominated once.
Yes.
You know why? Because I made the rules.
And that's the most relevant.
It's the most revenant information.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So, moving on to our next category. This one is going to be pretty much an open and shut case, but we decided to add it in anyways. And that is Best Drop Attraction. For those of you out there who have ever been to Universal Orlando and know about it, you know that the only drop attraction that they have, of course, is Dr. Doom's Fearfall. Technically not a drop attraction in that it has the twist on it. Dr. Doom's trying to collect your screams and your fear. And
oh my God.
And so instead of that taking a long time to lift you up to just drop you down, you get shot straight up. And then you do this weird bouncing.
Yeah.
And then you bounce a little bit back up. And then you kind of just bounce your way down.
It's like when you're in one of those tall chairs with the lever. And you don't want to quite let it all out at once because you know you're going to hit it. So you just...
Yeah. And a great ride. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
No.
Can't say much about it. It is what it is. People think it's on the chopping block for a greater Marvel expansion that might be coming to Universal Orlando.
Interesting.
Can't say that I'd be sad if it left, but it was the only thing we could nominate for this one in terms of Universal Orlando. Of course, over at Walt Disney World, it's not a surprise. It's also the only drop ride, and that's the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Based on nothing, kind of a slight Twilight Zone episode that never happened. It's not a real Twilight. You can't go home and watch it. You can go and watch the awful made-for-TV movie with Kirsten Dunst and Steve Guttenberg.
Yes, the inventor of the typing press.
That's about all you can do. But let's talk about, just for a brief second, about what makes the Tower of Terror so good, and something that I think Universal should strive to do in a drop attraction one day if they ever decide to have one. Well, Tower, they actually created a better story. They created a great story. They took away a lot of the chance with, just letting gravity do a lot of the work, and that by not just letting it be a complete free fall drop and actually have the ride vehicle moving into an actual drop container that then can move it up and down as it pleases.
Yeah.
A lot more technologically advanced.
That's the thing that took me by surprise. The first time I ever did it was when the elevator moved out of the thing, and I was like, what the? Like, I just thought it was an up and down thing.
Yeah.
It is not. It's like a Wonka Vader.
Wonka Vader.
Isn't that what it's called? Is that what it's called? No. You can go upways, sideways, zigzag, blah, blah, blah.
And part of these awards here it's a way to say, Universal, you could still learn some things. And for those of you who haven't quite given Universal a shot yet, maybe you will now after hearing that they do some things better than Disney. They do quite a bit things better than Disney, honestly, from time to time.
Yeah.
But in this category, Best Drop Attraction, it is hands down Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
They had it.
So, unfortunately, Tower of Terror is not here to accept their award.
We don't have
their Crino.
The old man bellhop.
Yes, we don't have an old man in a bellhop suit here.
It's just like that. Now that we've talked about two of those rides in a row, the Hulk and that drop, and then I was thinking about like the storm chasing ride. Like That whole area of Islands of Adventure seemed to have been designed after like a Six Flags, a carnival ride. It's Spider-Man that elevated that area into like a new thing.
Absolutely agree.
So I hope they do pave down for some new stuff.
Yeah.
What's next?
What is next? Well, we are going here another toughie.
Ooh,
Best music themed attraction. So what does that mean? Well, out at Universal Orlando, there's one attraction in particular where music is the star. And that is the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Yes, you get put in the seat to make your own awesome music video of you riding a roller coaster. And you have 20 songs to choose from, plus a fun library of songs that you didn't even know existed if you know the secrets that go along with the ride. Yes, you've never ridden a roller coaster the same until you listen to the Rainbow Connection while riding.
Does Kermit
while
sing it?
riding Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket? Who else would sing it?
I don't. Jason Mraz.
They're basically the same person. So let's be honest. The Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, what's it got going for them? Well, it's got
Long.
a lot of things that are really impressive to people, including a lot of people don't even care about the music aspect of it. Yeah, it's great, but it's all
Band-Aid
about
is
that.
flapping around.
It's all about that start of the roller coaster whenever you go straight up at a 90-degree angle and just pray that you don't get stuck up at the top like the poor people did that one time
For 3 hours.
and had to be
a 3-hour
evacuated.
tour.
Yes. And, and then the first kind of non-inverted loop that it happens after you go down that initial drop into the non-inverted loop. Just really cool. There's a treble clef in the ride. You do a treble clef.
Is there?
Yeah. The all the way to the portion in the back of New York, whenever it kind of loops back around. It goes up and it makes a treble clef.
And there's the interesting.
It's very cool. Very cool in that regards.
That's an interesting design that you can't really see too. It's like kind of just an experience.
Yeah. And but it's for the people who love it, I hate it. It's a great attraction. And the music does help to pump up the experience. There's nothing quite like a roller coaster whenever you add music along with it, especially when you choose the right music with it. For example, like what Disneyland doing the Hyperspace Mountain overlay, even if you didn't have like all the projections of Star Destroyers and X-Wings and TIE Fighters all added in there, if it was just the Star Wars music, it's like the perfect blend.
Well, it's funny that you even said that ride because the first time I ever did that, I was immediately taken back by the music in that ride because it's different than ours. And where you sit in that ride, the speakers are right behind your head, so it just plays this really awesome soundtrack that I already was like, man, that was cool music in this ride. So I can't even imagine what it's like with Star Wars music. That must be amazing.
Exactly. And then of course over it, so music really does enhance it. Over at Walt Disney World, our music themed attraction, of course, a lot of people already guessed it in the chat, so start voting now, is the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. You got to get to that Aerosmith concert, so they order you a stretch. Make it a super stretch.
I love that idea.
I love that idea. Ken Marino sitting in the background.
Yeah, just sitting there saying nothing.
Just being that guy from Rock and Roller Coaster. Amazing. And
she's somebody too, because she's the lady who sees the ghost that makes Kevin Bacon see the ghosts in that scary movie. Oh God, I'll tell you what it's called in a second. I gotta look it up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking
right
about,
on the tip of my tongue.
And he like digs the bodies up. He digs in his basement in his backyard. Does it have a number? It doesn't have a number. I own the movie. It's a good movie. But it's like very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, so you shoot off on that iconic straightaway shot at
with the Steven
60
Tyler
miles
scream.
an hour morning right after that. And then you just ride around in the dark. with Aerosmith soundtracks. Depending on which car you're in, you hear a different medley of songs and buzzing past all the neon signs, making you feel like you're going even faster. It's just it is a great blend of music and
Stir of echoes.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's just a great blend of music and thrill ride. And who walks away from that ride not smiling? Even the person who hates roller coasters the most can't walk away from it without smiling.
Yeah, I'll always go on that ride. It's just fun. It's stupid fun. Not even stupid.
So I've got to say, I think pretty much a lot of our chat-ins are agreeing on this one. I think we'd also agree too with it.
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster takes the cake for the best music themed attraction.
We couldn't
Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, they tried, but there's just something about the experience they lost in there.
Do they have any? They have any Aerosmith music on their ride?
No,
Intentionally.
no.
Yeah.
But they have the Black Eyed Peas.
Do they have any Joe Perry?
No.
Like from the solo album?
No.
Okay.
No Joe Perry solo.
Well.
Sorry. I know
That's the
you're
point
a
of
big
living.
Smith fan, being from Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. You got to.
What are you doing?
You gotta be. You gotta be. So moving right along, now we are getting to a big one, big category. Best indoor roller coaster attraction. Yeah, Rock and Roller Coaster could have fit
would've
in
said
this
that
one too,
yeah.
but we had the
Music.
we already had it in the music themed category. So
Universal, what do they got?
Universal, we have Revenge of the Mummy. Very, very light on the roller coaster aspect of it, but the roller coaster portion of this ride, it's a doozy while it's happening, but the dark ride portion of it alone is just it's the dark ride portion is so cool. It sets up the story so well, and then ending it off with the thrills.
Yeah. But the effects are amazing too, because I love like when you think the roller coaster part's over and then the fire on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I love that it turns you all the way around when the bugs drop on you and stuff. Like yeah, that's a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, no, just perfect. I love Revenge of the Mummy. It's a lot of stuff in that park could just start shutting down. Whenever Revenge of the Mummy goes, that will truly be a sad day.
I know, and I instead of throwing roses down at its feet, we should just throw cups of coffee.
Yes.
And Brendan Fraser.
Or
would be
cats.
happy. Cats.
Egyptians don't like cats.
Oh, well, I
Mummies
was
don't
saying
like
because I would have
I know.
enjoyed
He
it.
just
much
wants his
better
cup of
with
coffee.
Cup of coffee.
He just wants his cup of coffee. We know that too. Coffee and cats. Perfect mix.
Is there some sort of coffee brand that has a cat as an icon, and we can just
No, I don't believe there is, but
kitty cat caffeine? I hate myself.
we'll make it now.
Call me Kit Kat caffeine.
So, I think a lot of people already, a lot of people are wondering what was nominated over on the Disney side, and that was actually it was tough because we had to go with what was left in terms of the other categories, and for that we have to go with Space Mountain. So please start your voting now on which is better, Revenge of the Mummy versus
a little
Space
video
Mountain.
for you of it.
Yeah, we have a little video. What?
Lollipop,
That's
come along, my little one.
that's not Space Mountain.
Lollipop,
This is what the guy told me
That's-
Space Mountain was.
No, this is not Space Mountain.
ice cream.
That was not Space Mountain.
Oh, I had a different childhood.
Oh. I'm just uncomfortable now. That was definitely not Space Mountain. So Space Mountain, what's its merits? It's just a classic indoor roller coaster.
As you heard in the video, ice cream, child,
It's just
children.
it's a lot of people's first roller coasters. I think it was my first roller coaster. It might have been.
My first roller coaster was at Hershey Park. That was my first I didn't go on them after the Hershey Park one for like 10 years, and this was the first like real experience. Are people reacting to the child catcher? Was it their first experience with the child catcher? But I qualify this as my first like Disney roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, no,
see.
it's and I just love Space Mountain because obviously you're only going 28 miles an hour, but you feel like you're just going so fast and you're gonna lose your head, and it's it's a great.
I have a
indoor
friend who's like 6'6",
attraction.
and I'm afraid to ride behind him. Him and his wife were both here. They're both very tall, and I was literally 100% positive someone's head was going to fall in my lap.
However, absolutely, I think it's not completely unanimous, but very, very, very one-sided in this.
The Mummy.
Got to give it up for Revenge of the Mummy.
Yep.
Best indoor roller coaster. Winning of the Crino on this. Unfortunately,
and if you even put Rock and Roller Coaster into the category too,
It still
I'd
doesn't
still
win.
give it the Mummy.
yeah, I completely agree on that. Unfortunately, Revenge of the Mummy could not be here to accept their award.
They
So
were detained
we-
by that gentleman.
we are going to have to just move right along. And we're moving along into our next category, Best Flight Simulator Attraction. So flight, we went with moving motion simulator before. Now we're going with a flight simulator. Obviously, something making you feel like you're flying.
It's a little bit of a twist here.
A little bit of a twist. So where are we flying with Universal Orlando?
Well, I'll give you a little Wingardium Leviosa
Yeah,
and tell you, oops, I pushed the wrong button.
you did. You pushed the wrong button. And in terms of Universal Orlando, we nominated Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey as the best flight simulator attraction.
Yeah. I don't even care what the other one is.
It's
I mean, we know what it is.
It's a tough one. Obviously, Forbidden Journey is amazing. It's my favorite ride at Universal Orlando. Nothing was like it whenever it came out. Yeah, the Sum of All Thrills.
I still
it
don't
was
think
built-
anything's like it.
Sum of All Thrills is using the same Kuka arm robotics, obviously in a different mannerism, but they didn't also put wheels on those ones there like they did with Forbidden Journey and really create that true, like, I am flying around. It is just one of a kind. It's great. It will.
I've ridden it so many times, and I still have it still gives me feelings every time I go on it. It's not like, here I am, I'm on the ride. It still has an effect on me every time, to the point where I'm like, I'm genuinely scared right now. But that's part of the story. You're supposed to be scared. You know?
That ride will always hold a sacred place in my heart.
In my whole
In my heart. And over at Walt Disney World, nominated for Best Flight Simulator Attraction,
Small.
based purely on the ridiculous amounts of wait times it gets, Soarin'. Granted, right now,
I
it
hope
is
it's
in the
not a-
transition of Soarin' over California into Soarin' around the world.
This is a super misleading photo.
But, yeah. But just flat out, I mean, Soarin', obviously, people eat it up. It
They love
is
the
one of the
orange
most
smell.
relaxing, calming naps you can take for 4 minutes out after waiting even a half an hour in a fast pass line.
You can smell
just to
the
get on it.
trees. You smell the oranges. You got the wind in your hair. And
No, it's one of those euphoric things. It's another one of those rides you just can't help but get off it and just have that smile on your face, like, oh, that was nice.
yeah.
I like that. That was nice.
But I hope it's not a Soarin' loser. I hate everything I've said.
Yeah, I do hope it's not a Soarin' loser because
It's going to lose.
honestly, it lost. It's again, a couple people are voting for Soarin' around, but just in general, Forbidden Journey wins this one. It takes the cake. It takes.
It takes the muggle, the treacle tot.
I was gonna say the sesame cake. Oh, it takes the sesame cake.
Stop eating my sesame cake. That's me being Soarin',
Yeah,
because they were Soarin' loser. God,
Forbidden Journey wins.
this is hard.
Best flight simulator attraction. However, unfortunately, Forbidden Journey couldn't be here to accept their award. Just like the rest of them.
They got a bad case of the Gringotts.
Yes. I know someone's going to comment on why did he do this joke every single time?
I should have
It's
said
not
Hogwarts.
funny. I understand it's not funny.
But
Deal
you,
with it.
You got to do it now. We're already halfway through.
Still doing it.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
It's called Commitment. Thank you.
Commitment. So now's the time in our award show where we would like to remember all the attractions that we lost this year.
Here's the memorandum. I don't have a video.
That was beautiful. It was very touching. We'll put that in post.
I wish we had like 10 seconds of Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On right there.
Yes. Well, we tried. We failed. It happens.
Next time, gang.
So let's move on. This is going to be a tough one. Our best. It's the best water attraction. I know there's going to be a little bit of hesitation here. I kind of went for similarities in terms of a water attraction, and I could have gone even more similar. I just made my honest choice on this one because again, it was my choice to make. For Universal, of course, we have Jurassic Park River Adventure. Well, first off, it's Jurassic Park. Who doesn't like Jurassic Park? Clearly, the world doesn't like Jurassic Park.
Sarah Palin.
If anything was set in stone in 2015, it was that people are finally done with Jurassic Park and they don't want any more.
Yeah, that movie bombed.
They are completely done. But yeah, Jurassic Park River Adventure, just what starts as a nice, relaxing boat ride around Jurassic Park ends up just turning into turmoil whenever your boat gets taken off path.
You just kind of never see it coming.
You just don't. You
think John's got it this time? He's got it.
I thought it was finally going to win. Yeah. I thought things were going to be great.
Here we go.
Thought it was going to be great. And then all of a sudden you start going up a hill. Well, my question is, why in the world would they build that lift climb there? You're not supposed to go up into it.
I always imagine like the guy like laying out the blueprints and being like, okay, we've got this path here. This is where we'll go like during the day. But then over here, like, I mean, I don't really like stairs. You don't like stairs. What if we just made it so like our life was easier? We could hop in and go up this building. Okay. They were just like, you got it.
Makes absolutely no sense. But that drop, what a doozy.
Not to my tummy.
It's a big steep one. It's a big steep one. For sure.
I think I've asked this before. Is it steeper than
Yes.
the Disney one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that explains it.
It's very steep. So, for Walt Disney World, best water attraction, it's satisfactual. It's Splash Mountain. I don't know why I'm doing these awkward pauses in between every
I think you're
sentence.
waiting for clapping.
Yeah.
I should have had a clap track. Yeah, No, clap track. I said it right. Just sounded like a disease when I said
It's not like a laugh track. It's clap track.
clap track.
It's claptrap. So, Splash Mountain, just resurrecting a movie that people just kind of forgot about for the most part. Obviously, some people always remembered it. Brought it back into the highlights. Log flume style, originated in Disneyland. Plus, in my opinion, plussed whenever they brought it out to Disney World.
You just said plussed twice.
They plussed it.
Plussed.
Plussed it.
Okay.
Plussed it. Just, it's got it all. It's got the story. It's got the music that ties everything together. It's got a bunch of stereotypical characters. Just really riding those stereotypes.
Yeah.
And then it ends it off with a fun fall before a riverboat of even more stereotypes.
The chickens.
Love stereotypes. But
It's so good. You can't find the material it's based on.
it's just that good. But what comes down? What would win for best water attraction between Jurassic Park or Splash Mountain? Rhino.
God. So if we're trying to do it from a neutral standpoint, so, like for me personally, I'd always choose Jurassic Park over everything because it's dinosaurs. Come on. And you're in Jurassic Park. But if we're going by construction, I like that in Splash Mountain you have a couple of those faux drops, and it's so long. Like it's a long ride, and so it's an experience. So I think I'm going to surprise myself and vote for Splash Mountain.
Impressive.
Most impressive.
I do. I love both of these attractions.
It's tough. It's hard because like really on a personal level, I would absolutely choose Jurassic Park. But if you're telling me which one's the better full package, I'm not saying because it's family friendly or anything. I'm just saying that I enjoy that it's a longer attraction.
Yeah. I think you get a lot more bang for your buck. You
Yes.
feel like you got more out of it. And it's kind of funny because both of these attractions too fall into like disrepair so easily.
Yeah.
Where there's dinosaur effects that just stop working and they can't
Well,
fix them, or there's like the one Brer Rabbit that's always supposed to hop along your boat that it never
The
works.
neck is just. Well, that's true. You know what? I don't even know that I've ever ridden Jurassic Park in this park or the Hollywood one where all the things were functioning.
Yeah.
Because the car doesn't drop out there ever. For me.
Apparently they fixed it.
Oh, great.
Apparently they fixed it.
Next time.
So let's strip it down to only the bare essentials. You didn't have anything like it. What would win in this case?
You mean
If it was just
just the track?
just the track only.
Jet in the vehicle, just the track.
Yeah.
I think it would be Splash Mountain. Because, again, I like that you have a fake drop and you move around, and then I like that there's another drop, and then I like when you're in the dark room, and like if we stripped it away and I was just on that moving belt, I like how it's like it makes you feel
Yeah.
like you're progressively getting lower and lower, so you're like, I'm safe, and then gives you up. Whereas Jurassic Park has you just leave the dock, you come out, you're kind of on that whole level with some scares that are not related to the actual track, and then you go up.
Yeah.
And you level and then fall.
Exactly. So, and a couple of people have already mentioned it again. Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls would be a better matchup against Splash Mountain, but in my terms, I don't agree with that. Yes, they are similar. However, Dudley Do-Right's just wins. It slaps the crap out of that battle.
Oh yeah, I mean they shoot you down the drop. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, here's the drop." Woo! Like,
And you just get slapped in the face with water. You get wet so far throughout it. That's not even tough. I want a little bit of a challenge. Yeah, we had that with Doctor Doom versus Tower of Terror, the easy winner there. We didn't need two of these.
no,
Jurassic Park or Splash Mountain, that's a real toughie because it all depends on what you're looking for in this. I'm gonna go with Jurassic Park because I like the big payoff in the end. I do. I like that big payoff.
I do. Yeah, and that was the hardest. That's the hardest drop for me because I was thinking like, I 100 times think the drop at the end is better on Jurassic Park, and even the landing because you kind of swoop down into this landing, whereas Splash Mountain, I feel like you just kind of fade into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a tough one. Well, what about
That's a tough one.
What's the chat going?
They're kind of all over the place with it too. So I'm gonna executive decision Jurassic Park in this case.
It's good. They need the win.
Making it.
They need the win.
Sorry, let's be, even if we were doing this on the Disney World show right now, I'd still go with Jurassic Park. That's what I'm saying. I'm wearing a freaking Imagineering hat right now. I love Disney. I love Universal. I love both of them.
Okay, if they were gonna knock down one, which one would you be more sad to see go? I guess that's the same kind of tough question because you don't want to see the dinosaurs go, but at the same time you're like, Splash Mountain is a part of like Disney history. It's like a flagship attraction. And I'm saying
I would be
there would
sadder-
be no more Jurassic Park stuff at Universal. So that's what I'd be saying.
I would be sadder to see. Yeah, I'd be sadder to see Jurassic Park go because that area would be worthless at that point. It
Yeah.
would close. Whereas with Frontierland, a lot of what makes Frontierland special for me over at Disney World is not Splash Mountain necessarily, but just walking through the actual land and feeling like you're back in that Wild West time and the delightfulness of the country bears.
At Disney World?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just like Frontierland as a whole. If Splash Mountain went, it'd be sad, but it wouldn't cripple that land. That land would still move on. Jurassic Park couldn't live without River Adventure.
True.
That's just flat out the case. So we are wrapping this up with our final category. Best new roller coaster attraction. So, of course, that means at Universal Orlando, it would be Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. So, yeah, you're living part 7, part 2 of the Harry Potter film, but from a different standpoint.
From a different angle where, for some reason, Hermione sounds completely different than she does on the other side of the track.
Exactly. And, blends roller coasters with motion simulators, with just
Amazing architecture.
amazing 360-degree architecture, so you feel immersed no matter where you are in it. Just fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it better than that. It's just one of those things. If you still haven't done it yet, get your butts to Universal Orlando and experience Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts.
I love that starting part, too. When, you got characters that are coming out interacting with you in new ways that you've never seen before, and you're just... I thought somebody was going, woo!
Yep.
And that was actually a siren. So
We got a whoop in the back.
they agree.
So, and then, of course, over on Disney, the greatest, the best in the land, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Okay, I've since done this since our first time that we went together at the Christmas party again, and it's not bad. It's nothing. It's just, I don't know. Like, the animatronics are cool, but that part, like, slows down the ride. I'm like, I don't care about this.
Yeah, to me, go ahead and start voting, people. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train versus Gringotts. To me, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is like when you're really in the mood for an egg salad sandwich. So you go out, you get all the ingredients,
All the accoutrements.
you spend all day making it, and then at the end of it, whenever you're finished and you're completely done, you don't even really want the egg salad sandwich anymore.
Cool.
And that's
Cool.
kind of for me what Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is. After that wait, after all the excitement, after all the anticipation, you do it, and you're just kind of like, well,
Ant's here.
that was it. That happened. It's beautiful. The animatronics in it are fantastic.
The lifeless Snow White that dances for you at the end is great.
Yeah, but it missed something along the way. There was just I couldn't even tell you what they missed.
No.
I guess it's just whenever you take so long to build something, you turn it into your mind that it should have been this E-ticket attraction, and then it ended up only being like honestly about a D-ticket level.
I'd say it's, on the same level as Barnstormer.
Yeah, it's not quite up to par on what it should be for the amount of hype that they build into it and that the fan community build into it. So,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts. My executive decision, Rhino's executive decision,
You're a
as
winner,
well
Harry.
as a good amount of everyone who's been participating along with us in this on what it should be. So, I believe this year's Crino Awards, the Parkies, some people like to call them, it looks like Universal came out pretty dominant, winning 6 awards against Walt Disney World winning 3 awards. Again, we both love Disney, so this was not biased in any ways. And I know a lot of you out there love Disney and Universal, so it wasn't biased to you either. It's just
We don't want you to think just because it's the Universal show, Universal won.
in the end, Universal can learn things from Disney. Disney can learn things from Universal, and we can reap the benefits of having amazing, fun attractions that you can only get so many places in the world. And so, before the music starts and I get walked up,
Lollipop.
I'm hoping for this attraction
that's
sometime.
that's not the outro.
Lolli-
Not the outro. That was not the outro. Well, thank you all out there for dealing with us for the past hour. So I know it was a little bit different. So we hope JL gets better, so we don't have to
We can add
wing it like this again next week, being a little bit crazy. But yes, no, thank you so much for watching along with us or listening. And remember, of course, if you want to contact us, send us an email asking any questions, checking us out on social media, all that, head out to our show notes page at disunplug.com. Click the blue Universal album artwork, so that will lead you to anything you need to know about us. And of course, you can find out about all of the other shows that we have on the Diz Unplugged podcast network there as well too. Make sure you're subscribed at youtube.com/Diz Unplugged for this show and every other show that we put out there. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave reviews for us. If you're watching right now and you haven't taken the time to click that button with the thumbs up yet, I suggest you do it now. Please do it. It boosts our egos. Very important. And most of all, just make sure you're liking us on all social media, following what we're doing, all of our crazy antics as we go along. So thank you again for taking the time to watch and listen. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. We will be back next week. But remember, Kryno is universal.